A question that maybe we've asked ourselves before is something like this. How do I know if I'm growing in my faith? How do I know if I'm getting closer to God? I've been asked that question before, and I'm always so delighted when I hear that question because there's an earnestness in it. There's a desire that's so beautiful just by asking the question, am I growing closer to God or not? What I'll often tell people is the words of Jesus. Jesus says, well, look at the fruits. You'll know the tree by the fruits. So look at your life. Are you growing in love of neighbor? Are you growing in love of God? Do you see the virtues coming alive in you? Because all those things are signs that, yes, you are growing in your faith and you are growing closer to God. But then sometimes there might be a follow-up question, which is more like this. Well, what if I don't know if I'm growing in my love of God? Like what if I can't tell? And that's a painful question. If somebody wants to get closer to God, but maybe they can't even tell if they really love him enough. And I'm sure that's what St. Peter was experiencing in this month's Word of Life when, after the resurrection, Jesus asked him this fundamental question, Peter, do you love me? And I'm sure when Jesus asked that question, Peter is thinking about the many beautiful moments he had with Jesus, but maybe even more so on the front of his mind is his betrayal of Jesus. Those three times that he denied even knowing Jesus. And I can imagine the shame and the doubt and the pain deep in the heart of St. Peter. And yet Jesus persists. Peter, do you love me? And Peter gives such a beautiful answer, which is our month's word of life. Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. Maybe for us too, if we're asking that question, like, am I really getting closer to God? I don't know if I love God enough. Am I loving him more each day? Maybe that question is coming from the same place as St. Peter. Maybe we feel shame. Maybe we're painfully aware of our weakness and our sinfulness. Maybe we're painfully aware of those broken, wounded places in our heart. And so as we see those places, we might wonder, well, is it really possible that I can love God even from there? St. Paul says that it's in our weakness that we find strength. That often in those places of powerlessness that we're able to experience true glory and true strength. And so here's what I think this month's Word of Life calls us to, and it's something very profound. I think it's this reality that even if I don't feel like I love God enough, even if I don't feel like I'm growing in my faith enough, even if I look at some of the fruit in my life and I see some negative things like Peter did, maybe some denials, maybe some sin, even if we're in that place of weakness and powerlessness, we can still say this prayer to Jesus. Lord, you know everything and you know that I love you. Because here's what I've discovered is that when somebody feels some anxiety around that question, like, do I really love God enough? If somebody is concerned about that, that's already a sign that they love God. Like, we would not be asking the question if we didn't already love him. And so, how beautiful that God accepts that. He receives that love, even if it's in a weak and broken place. I think of Jesus on the cross, who maybe didn't feel like he was close to his Father. I bet Jesus on the cross could have said these words of Peter, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. Even if I don't feel it, maybe even if I don't see it, you still know that I love you. And in that prayer, in that act of surrender, we can be close to Jesus and we can experience true strength and true power that doesn't come from us, but comes from God who always loves us first. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to keep up with other great content to help you live your life of unity with God and with one another, make sure you subscribe to Focolare Media so that you can continue to live your divine adventure.